And I just seen it happen too many times that I was just like, look, I need to set people straight and like at least be aware of another perspective, because everyone telling you grind culture and you got to hustle and work 14 hours a day to get a leg up. Look, I've been working 30 hours a week for a long time, and I keep continuing to progress past other people and, grow and grow. So like,
Welcome, everyone, to Talk is Cheap, the Fight Against Mediocrity podcast. I have Ryan Pineda here. Probably doesn't need a big introduction. He's been in real estate since 2010. He began his career as a realtor and soon realized that wasn't the path he wanted to continue on. In 2015, with only $10,000 in the bank, he began flipping houses. Since then, he has flipped hundreds of homes, purchased hundreds of rentals, and opened other multi-million-dollar businesses. He has amassed over 1 million followers on social media where he teaches others how to build wealth and freedom. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
what's up, man? Happy to be on.
Super stoked to have you here. I feel like pretty soon we're going to be adding like PGA golfer on there.
Dude, I like that you mentioned that, man. I didn't want to say it, but I think it's going to happen. We'll just see how it goes.
I think that's what baseball was preparing you for. The swing in baseball was preparing you for the PGA.
Yeah. I always tell people baseball prepared me for business, and that, some of the things that I do that most people aren't willing were just principles I learned in baseball, like discipline and work ethic, competing, just being used to like living like crap and like roughing it out, and discipline, like everything. But no, I think it was to make me a PGA golfer as well. I just didn't know it yet.
Say the opportunity comes up. They're like, you get in. Would you do it? Would you adjust your businesses and lifestyle to do it?
100%, dude. Yeah, I shouldn't say 100%. Obviously, it would depend on my family and everything else. Like, if I was able to fit my family into this new lifestyle, if they were able to travel with me and all this, then probably. But right now I'm just having fun with it. If I could like be a good enough golfer and be a big enough celebrity where I could just compete in like those tournaments where they play with a celeb, then that would probably be my best case scenario, I think.
That's a good point. How close are you to being there?
Not even close. I just started playing last year, but I'm working. I got big dreams.
I love it. Hey man, I got a lot of cool questions here for you. First of all, and I think this will be fun to talk about. I go out, when I hang out with people, I would say it's a 50-50 split. Some of them are like, what the heck is an NFT? I would probably more than 50%. So like, tell us what an NFT is. How and why do you buy it? What are your take on NFTs?
Man, I am super stoked about NFTs. I am in development on mine. Should be out here very shortly. And I think they're going to change the game. I like to equate NFTs very much to real estate and crypto to stocks. When you buy crypto or Bitcoin, whatever, you don't really get anything out of it. Like, yeah, you're just hoping it goes up or down, just like a stock, and you don't really have control over it. It's going to do what it does, and it is what it is. With NFTs, it's a bit different. A lot of them have very real world utility. A lot of them, you can get at really good deals if you just get on the whitelist and you get it early. You can go direct to NFT holders and try and get, if they need a cash right now, very much like real estate, because they're illiquid, you can go and get a good deal. So I think there's so many similar aspects to NFTs as real estate that I just resonate with it more. And I think there's going to be a lot more use case for NFTs than I think for, I guess, just crypto. But I mean, like at the end of the day, anyone will say, well, crypto is what buys NFTs. Like, okay, whatever. It's crypto. I get it. But, if you had to tell me, am I going to go use Bitcoin to transact, or are NFTs going to be used in the real world more? I'd pick NFTs.
Yeah. And I know there's a lot of different uses that people are talking about. What are some of the uses that your NFT is going to have, which I don't even, have you announced that yet? I think this is the first time I've heard it from you.
Yeah, dude, I can't tell you yet, man. It's a very big secret and mystery. That's part of the fun with NFTs. They have this culture of secrecy, and that's like what builds the hype and all this stuff. But what I can say is mine is very real estate related, both real life and metaverse. There's for me, I'm building it out like I build out any other company. I'm already coming up with why would somebody want to buy this? What kind of value are they getting beyond the artwork or the JPEG that the masses think an NFT is? So yeah, that's what I can say. There's going to be a ton of value, and the art is going to also be dope.
Yeah, I know when we went golfing, that was one of the biggest takeaways I got from you is like provide so much value that people would never leave, like, and they just love you.
Yeah, I would guess my NFT sells out just from my current customers, so because they know they just know the value they get with everything else. So, for this, I mean, my NFT, I'll tell you this too, we plan to launch the first one at like 0.2 ETH, which would be today like $500 to $600. Like, dude,
yeah, hardly
everyone will
anything.
buy it. Yeah.
And then you make money when you sell it, and then you get money when people exchange it. Is that right?
Yep. And I mean, look, to me, that's very similar to like YouTube and stuff, where if you make a video, you get AdSense money, and that's cool. But the AdSense money is freaking pennies for what you would do with the videos, aka the NFTs. Like, the business we build behind the NFTs and what we allow our holders to get with that is going to be the big money.
I think it's so cool. I know Grant Cardone's coming out with one. I'm excited to see what that looks like when he releases it. But a couple other questions that I have is, and it's so funny because everyone knows you for real estate, but we're not even going to probably really talk a ton of real estate with most of these questions because you've just gotten into so many different things. But what role does faith in God play in your life and business?
Man, I'm very public with my faith in my content and what I put out on social media. And I think it drives, well, I would hope it drives every decision I make, with my business, my life, and how I allocate my time, But I mean, it's everything, man. I think I just launched something called The Wealthy Way that is really about that. If you go to wealthyway.com, that was a business that I could have monetized and made into this big deal. And the more I thought about it, the more like my faith told me that just give it for free. Like, people need this. And so I made this course. I made this planner software. I made this Discord community. I just gave it all away for free. Cost me a lot of money to make too, and a lot of time. But it just, to me, was like this thing where I see so many business people that make the wrong mistakes all the time. They're pursuing money nonstop. They are neglecting their families, and they say, oh, it's temporary, and in time I'll fit, we'll get back on track. And I just seen it happen too many times that I was just like, look, I need to set people straight. And like, whether they believe what I believe or not, whether they're Christian or not, at least be aware of another perspective, because everyone telling you grind culture and you got to hustle and work 14 hours a day to get a leg up. It's not true. I mean, look, I've been working 30 hours a week for a long time, and I keep continuing to progress past other people and, grow and grow. So like, there is another way.
I think it's, the Tony Robbins quote, you get in life what your standards are. And when you set a standard like you have and say, hey, my standard is I work 30 hours a week, and then I spend time with my family. I have a routine that I manage in the morning. When that's your standard, that's what you get out of life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I actually just changed my routine for the first time in years to try and play golf. Because here's actually what happened is I joined a country club, and this is a huge, so let me take a step back. One of the big principles of the Wealthy Way is time management. Like, I would say that might be the guiding principle without me really even intending it to be. Because there's one thing that's the same for all of us on earth: time. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. Now, we're all born with different talents, skills, economic resources, where we live. Like, everything's different on that front, but we all are equal with 24 hours. And it's really about prioritizing that 24 hours in a way that fits all these different aspects in life that are valuable. You know, for me, I created this wealth acronym called the W's for worship. The E is for education. The A is for affluence. L is for lifestyle. T is for team, and H is for health. And so I try to hit all of those things on a daily basis, so that I'm not void and empty in just one aspect. Because if you're not fulfilled in all those things, I can tell you, you're going to have stress, you're going to have problems in your life. So with that being said, I decided that, you know, I want to start playing golf like very seriously. And I know what it takes as an ex-pro athlete, like the dedication. I said, you know what? For me to like really get good, I got to spend at least an hour a day practice. Like, that's the bare minimum. But more likely, if I could get 2 hours a day, I think I could do it pretty good. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wake up an hour and a half earlier every morning and fit it in. And, you know, because most guys golf on the weekends, and I did it a couple of times. And then my wife started getting mad at me. And I was like, you know what? She's right. Like, if I want to make it work, I need to sacrifice elsewhere, whether it's at my business, whether it's my sleep, whatever the case is.
Yeah. And I found the same thing for me. I tried to do the work at night and everything like that. And very quickly, same thing. My wife was like, hey, this isn't going to work. Like, I need to be able to see you. So I did the same thing. I started waking up earlier, and I'm sure you'll agree, the morning is like a God-given gift to the high achiever, because no one's bothering you. No one's texting you. No one's messaging you. No one's pinging you. Like, it's you with your thoughts, learning and growing.
Yep. I love the mornings, dude. Like, I tell this to people too in the wealthy way, that like, okay, the normal person in the morning, they wake up right before work, right? They got to go be at work at 9. They know they got to leave their house at 8:40. If you're in Cali, leave at 8, right? And then they wake up at 7:45 and then leave at 8. Like, they have nothing. For me, I've been waking up at 6. I get to the office at 10. What did I do those 4 hours? I was like working on me. And so, like, if I got to work on myself for 4 hours before I ever talk to anyone else and like deal with all the crap that goes on at work, I know I'm going to be in a much better headspace. I'm going to be much more happy, and I'm going to be a better leader and a better innovator and a better creator because of that.
Yeah. And I totally agree. I mean, as I look at a lot of business people who are very, very successful in the wealth category, I mean, I don't know if you knew this, but I think this was like 6 months ago, 7 of the wealthiest 10 people in the world are, you know, their marriages ended in divorce, which I have no idea the circumstances. I have no idea what happened. I have no context whatsoever, but that sucks. Like, I don't think there's anything worth sacrificing your family for. So that's one of the things that I admire most about you is, you know, you're crushing it in business, but you also are putting your family first and your faith first. And you're like the only person I know who's like, hey, don't just grind all the time. Actually take time for yourself. Everyone else is like, just grind and grind and grind. But
Yeah.
I wanted to dive into your story a little bit more. I was going to ask about the wealthy way, and you already talked about that. When you maxed out your credit cards, your credit card and your wife's credit card, to buy your first flip, what was that like? Like, walk us through step by step. What were you thinking? What was going on? What were the challenges, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah. So a lot of people ask me, like, was she scared? Were you scared? Like, what was the deal? Like, how did you, you know, get the balls to do that? Right. Like, for me, if you know the full story, that one was also guided by faith. Right. And I think that faith continues to just play a central role in everything we do. Because if you actually think about it, and we talk about this in the wealthy way too, if you're growing, you're constantly having faith that whatever you're about to try and do is going to work, because by definition, you've never done it, right? You're growing.
Yeah.
The only way you don't need faith is if you just continue to do the same thing and like be steady Eddie. And even that requires faith that you doing the same thing will still get the same result. So faith is always going to play a role in every decision you make, whether you're aware of it or not. But at that time, my wife and I were on our 1-year anniversary in New Orleans, and I was flipping couches at the time. Once again, couch flipping is a whole different thing that nobody told me how to do. I just was like, I think this is a good idea. I'll try it. And it worked. But I remember praying on that trip, and I was like, God, like, I'm super grateful that like I found this thing, that like you presented this opportunity to me that has provided for us, because I had no other way to make money. But like, I know I'm built for more. Like what else can I do? And then, I saw this TV commercial about no money real estate investing. And I'm like, that's a scam. Cause I was always a skeptical guy. Like I'm like, no, that's not true. But I just felt like my spirit calling me to look more into it. And so I start Googling and, go down this rabbit hole, and I'm like, oh man, like, no, this is legit. Like, I get it. And I went, to my wife and I said, we're going to flip houses. And we ended up getting on a plane back. And on that plane, we sat in different seats because we were too cheap to pay the extra to sit together.
Yeah.
We were like chancing it, thinking they would sit us together, and they didn't. And I sit next to this old guy, and, he sees me reading this book, and he's like, dude, are you reading about real estate investing? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to start flipping houses. He was like, I felt like God was calling me to talk to you about this. And I want you to know, like, I flipped hundreds of homes in my career. And if you ever need anything, let me know. But there's a lot of things that you could do in this business. And he starts telling me about all these terms I'd never heard of that I know today. He's like, dude, you could use creative financing. You could take over their loans. You could do that. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
No.
But it was that moment that I had the confirmation I needed. That was God telling me, like, look, this is going to work out. And from there, I promise you, I had no fear or anything of like what was going to happen next, because I just knew, like, the faith that it was going to work was so strong because of how the circumstances played out. And, I got back. I knew I needed to go raise some money for a down payment. I said, you know what? Easiest way, just go get a balance transfer on some credit cards. I'll go get 0% cards, 18 months. And that's what I did. I got them in both of our names. I maxed them out. And I had $50K to work with. And then, I went to go finding a deal, found a deal, then found another one like a month later. And between those two deals, I made $40,000 in profit on the flips, and my life was changed forever. And, I just think that also too, so everyone knows, my wife was also on board as well. She wasn't freaking out like, what's up with the flips? Like, are we going to sell? Like, she's not that type of person. Neither of us are. We're both very, I would say, like, we just are not like stressed, and we don't stress each other out with like nitpicking or worry.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not our personality. So anytime I go to do something crazy, I'll be like, babe, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel, and like, I'm gonna try and blow it up. Like, I'm gonna start dancing on TikTok. And like, she's like, whatever, like, if that's what you want to do it. And, she's always supported me along the way, whether it was a couch flip, whether it was maxing out those credit cards, or now doing all the other crap that I do. So, it's definitely a marriage thing. It's a faith thing that, has allowed me to continue trying to do more, because I just feel like calm and peace in each move I make. Like, and I always get confirmation too. Like, and I want to make that abundantly clear. Like, when I go to make a new business or do something like a really big move, let's just, not an everyday deal, like a really big move that's going to drastically change the trajectory. Typically, somebody will tell me something, and I'll be skeptical even to this day. I'll be like, okay, whatever. And then somebody else will say it again. Won't be the same person. And I'll be like, I think God's trying to tell me something. And then whether that's it and I take action, or maybe something else even happens, it always happens that way. When I was deciding to get into YouTube, I tell this story of like, I saw that the pandemic was happening and everyone was going to be, on their phones watching YouTube and TikTok. Like it was the perfect time to strike. And it was, but I make it sound way smarter than I actually like am, because it makes it sound like it was my master plan, when in reality, what happened was I'm on Instagram. That was the only thing I had. I had like 10,000 followers. And I get a DM from a guy. He's like, dude, you should do YouTube videos. Like your content's good. You would do really well on YouTube. And at the time I didn't watch YouTube. I didn't understand it. I was like, bro, nobody watching YouTube. Like that's stupid. And I didn't do it. And then I had somebody else literally like the next day, they were like, hey, Ryan, have you ever thought about doing YouTube? And that was when I was like, huh, okay. And so now I looked into it, and then I saw what all these guys were doing on YouTube with Graham, Stefan, and Kevin and all, and I saw what they were making without actually running businesses. And I was like, oh my gosh, like if these guys can do that, this is going to be crazy. And so I immediately from there started making videos, and it just so happened that the timing was that timing.
You know what? I got chills when you told the story about you running into that guy on the airplane. This isn't about me, but something very similar happened to me with what I'm doing today, and in a lot of different steps along the way. And when you were telling your story of, being in Louisiana and or New Orleans and seeing that commercial and being like, hey, this is something I should look into, I thought, asking you shall receive. You asked. And Heavenly Father, that's one thing. I mean, going on faith. So my wife and I told you, we just adopted a newborn baby. He'll be a month old on Thursday. It's crazy, man. Like,
congrats,
so
man.
fun.
Super exciting.
Thank you. And one of the things that I learned was, I mean, there's a love that you have for your spouse, but there's like this separate chamber in your heart that opens when you have kids, and you get a glimpse into how Heavenly Father loves us. Because I think about how in the details we are with Stanford, that's his name. And, we're changing his diaper. We're making sure he always has clean clothes and bathed and all these things. He has no idea what's going on. And I think Heavenly Father looks down on us and says the same thing. Like, he's in the details. He wants us to be successful. He can't always do it for us, but everything he wants us to be successful in.
I agree. 100%, man.
Yeah. I want to be respectful of your time. I want to keep it to around 30 minutes. A couple more questions. This is actually, so I posted on Instagram. Someone wanted me to ask you, what motivates you to keep pushing?
I get this question a lot. I actually had, right before this call, I had this guy, Eric. He's the CEO of a company called Carrot, which is a credit card for influencers. And actually, I'm trying to remember if I'm allowed to say this or not, but they just got a 9-figure valuation. I'll just leave it at that, right? Like they raised a bunch of money, and that's what I'll leave it at. But anyways, literally like 20 minutes ago, he asked the same question. He goes, dude, like I'm here at the office, like I'm looking at all this stuff you have going on. Like, what fuels you to keep doing it? And I started to think about it because I've been asked it so many times, and like I've never like sat down and like thought like, why do I do this? And that takes some really deep thinking to do it. Because on one hand, yeah, I could make the generic response of like, I got to provide for my family. I got to do this. Like, that's cool. Like, I felt like I passed that a long time ago. That's not what fuels me anymore, right? I bought my parents a house. I've been able to do a lot of things. My employees live great lives now. But like, what is pushing me to continue to try and just keep going crazy and building and growing? I would say there's two things. One is that to go with the faith aspect of it, I do believe that God gave me unique talents to execute things that other people can't do. And I just think that, if you read in the Bible, it talks about how we all have our own gifts, our own spiritual gifts, whether it's the gift of giving, serving, leading, all these things. And it is my belief that if you do not use those gifts to glorify God, you're not being obedient and you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So I feel like if I were to just go chill and retire and do nothing, it would be a waste of talent, and it would not be good for what God has planned for me. So I feel an obligation to do it. And it's not like I feel like I have to go do it and I don't want to do it. Like I want to do it, but I just, I feel like that's one aspect of it that I have to do it. The second thing is, not only would I just be really bored if I didn't do anything, I think it's built into me from sports that I just want to get better every day. That's it. The thought about either declining in my business or my life or my health or my faith, that terrifies me. Like I literally want to improve my relationship with God, my relationship with my wife. I want to get a 6-pack. I want to be wealthier and have more money. I want to improve my relationships with all my employees, and I want to do cool stuff. I want to go on vacation and have fun. Like I want to do all those things better and better as my life goes on. And I just could not ever see myself going downward, because if I do start to trend downward, I know I'm just going to be really mad and like do something to get it back up.
Yeah, that's a perfect answer. Honestly, I've never heard the faith aspect of it before, but I totally agree. And I think that's probably one of the better motivators as far as pushing forward. 2 more questions. First, or for those who want to connect with you, obviously I would highly recommend the wealthyway.com. Check that out.
Yep.
I've been going through it. That's awesome. How else can people connect with you?
Yeah, I would love for everyone here to join our wealth builder community. I think we're building something really cool over there. So yeah, wealthyway.com is great. If you want to learn more about my businesses, I know we didn't really even talk too much about them, but I got a ton of businesses that could probably help you out and either teach you or service some of your needs. So you can find out about all those businesses at ryanpineda.com, and all my socials are there too. So you can see all that stuff.
Awesome. Cool. And so last 2 questions. For those who are in a relationship, girlfriend, boyfriend, spouse, what advice would you give to people to improve their relationship?
This is a good question. If you've never read quality time. And so, yeah, that's a good way to get the answer out. Ask what your wife would say, or what does your spouse want? That's probably the answer. I think there's a great book called The 5 Love Languages. A lot of people go through it if you ever get marriage counseling before. And I think that was great. And so my wife's love language is quality time. And so for her, hers is the hardest one because it's literally the thing I harp on the most. Like we only have a certain amount of time, and she knows that that's the most valuable thing I can give up, and so what she wants. And it's like, there are other love languages like gifts and stuff like that. It's like, I could give her a gift instantly. You don't care. That doesn't matter.
She'd rather spend time with you than drive around in a new Escalade, right?
She would, even though she is balling in that Escalade for sure.
She is. Okay, I really appreciate it. This has been one of my favorite episodes. Been able to talk about faith and a lot of awesome stuff. Last question: what does the fight against mediocrity mean to you?
You and I have talked a lot about this off camera.
We have.
Yeah, I think what you're doing is amazing. I think the movement you're creating and helping all these guys and business owners, there's a definite need for it. So I think it's great. I would also say what you're saying with FAM. By the way, my wife loves the sweater. She wears it all the time. It's kind of what I was saying with declining. Like I don't want to decline. Like I definitely never want to be mediocre. I don't even want to be as good as I am today. Like I want to be above where I am today. And so that's a constant fight that will never end until the day I die. And that's what people have to start realizing is that you never make it, like you're always going to be continue to fight while you're on this earth. And I enjoy it. Once you embrace it, it takes away that like stigma of like, I can't wait to retire, or things will
Yeah,
get it's like,
totally.
no, dude, just like, it is what it is. You're always going to be fighting, and that's great. Life would be boring if you didn't.
Yeah. Alex Hormozy said, you never make it. You just arrive at a smaller pond, or you're the smallest fish in a bigger pond or something.
Yeah. You just keep switching up ponds.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, thank you so much, man. This has been amazing. Hope you have an awesome day, and I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on, dude.